Hi, this is Justin with FTA and CCW Safe. I'm here with our industry partner, Jeremy Ty. We've just wrapped up Shooter Symposium 2022 at the ranch in Eagle Lake, Texas. Um, Supposed to be a 3-day deal as far as 3 classes. We were all nocturnal the first 2 days, so we didn't make our day class on Sunday because we were out till about 5 o'clock in the morning last night. So we figured we'd sit in here and do some AARs of the 2 classes we did do. First class we did on Friday evening was with Jon Dufresne of Kinetic Consulting, and it was his low-light mechanics class, I believe. It was the title. And Jeremy, why don't you tell us a little bit about it, what you thought?
Yeah, so it was a great class. We started at 6 p.m. So we had a couple hours of daylight, went over just some basic rifle and pistol fundamentals. And then once it got dark enough, we got into the how to use white light when you're employing a rifle or a handgun. I'm a pretty experienced shooter, I would say. I've been shooting for a minute. But even so, I still picked up several things that I'm going to take back home to implement in my training program, and then also try to pass on to the students that I have in my own classes. When I go to training classes, the thing that I'm looking for the most is how other instructors articulate and demonstrate concepts. And Dufresne did an excellent job of explaining and demonstrating all of the topics that he was talking about so that everyone could understand exactly what he was saying. Whether he was drawing on the targets to visually represent what he wanted the students to accomplish, or just talking students through as they're performing the drills, walking them through step by step. He was a great instructor, and I had a really good time. I picked up several things, like I said, that I'm going to implement. Then I also picked up things that I know are not going to work for me, but they might work for somebody else. And that's another thing that I go to classes for. I don't go necessarily to make myself a better shooter, but I'm looking for ways to help me make other people be better shooters. And again, Jon met my expectations on that point as well.
Yeah, I thought the class, it was one of the best, if not the best, as far as pacing goes, because we were rock and rolling for about 8 straight hours, and he would bring everybody into a huddle, make a point, teach what he wanted to teach, kind of get across the concept of what he was talking about, and then we would go shoot. And most of the time it was kind of a discovery type of learning, where he would give you almost kind of a situation, like, okay, here's the scenario, here's the situation, here are maybe several different ways as a solution to that. Whether that is, how do you activate the light on your pistol? There's multiple different ways to do it. And everyone, that's the other thing about, I've found, when you start getting out of just straight daylight pistol and rifle classes, when you start adding lights, you start adding lasers, you start adding complexity and switches and things like that, there really are no hard, firm answers, because everyone's hands are different, everyone's got different guns, everyone's right-handed. Something that may work for a right-handed guy is not going to work for a left-handed guy. So it's one of those things where all the shooters have to kind of put in the time and just figure out what works good for them. And sometimes it may be what's just the least bad. Like there may be no great solution. You just got to figure out whatever's the easiest way to get it done. The pacing was big, because in some classes you'll find the instructors will break guys for water and stuff in mags, and it turns into 30 minutes. Dudes sit down, they start, talking, and before you know it, you've burned up a decent amount of time really not doing anything. But that was not the case with Jon's case. It was, all right, and he kept, harping on, drink water, hydrate. We'd go back, have enough time. It wasn't a rush, but it was, you would load your mags, you would drink your water, and it's like, okay, if you're ready, back online. And it was just, we got a lot of material covered in a short time, a 1-day class, and did more shooting than I thought we would. I think we went through about 400 rounds of rifle each.
Yeah. Easy.
and probably 300 rounds of pistol, which to me is like a great. I feel like when that class was over, like I didn't feel like I wanted to shoot more, or because I've had that with some classes to where you get done, it's a wrap, and you're like, well, wish we would have shot more. That wasn't the case with John's class. But as an instructor, I think he was great. He made his points. I'm a fan of instructors that are not the way but a way type, which most really good ones are, because they understand that this kind of stuff, it's very hard to have a one size hard and fast fits all kind of rule. So yeah, I love John's class. He was a great dude. My first time meeting him and training with him. Hope to train with him again.
Yeah, same.
Let's go over any lessons learned, like any like nuggets or something you took away, or anything you learned about maybe your gear or what you brought, something that worked really well that you liked, or something you after that class and you thought, well, okay, I might want to change this. Yeah,
As far as gear, I was pretty happy with how my gear worked for that class. There are some changes that I'm going to make, but that's due to the second class that we're going to talk about here in a minute. So as far as just low light, white light stuff, again, I've been shooting for a while. I've done quite a bit of shooting at night under white light. I know how I like my stuff. I was happy with how it performed, happy with how it was set up. I'm not going to make any changes in my gear based on that class. I did take, several little techniques like Justin already mentioned, how to activate and then deactivate pistol light depending on what type of switch is on the pistol. If you're a righty or you're a lefty. John did teach me how to disable the strobe on the TLR1. Not my light personally, but I do shoot with people that have TLR1s and the strobe drives me nuts. I now know how to turn that off. That's going to make everybody's life better back in my neck of the woods. But no, I was happy with my gear, and I was happy with the knowledge that I was able to take from the class.
Yeah, I was happy. My pistol was just an X300 Ultra. I activated it with my trigger finger and didn't really have any problems. It's kind of a fair amount of experience shooting under white light, so that was fine. One thing that is the first thing I'd seen I've seen John do it, and that is for an admin style. This is just it's a black diamond headlamp, but instead of wearing it as a headlamp, you just wear it as a necklace, and it's perfect for admin stuff. You walk up, you check your target. I had it set to red light. It's on green now. It's just enough light for you to see what you're doing, and it's not blinding all the people next to you. You don't, if you have it on your head and somebody says, "Hey, man," and you look over there, you're not shining it right in their eyes. Just that little simple, obvious kind of a thing of just having the light pointed down and hanging around your neck. I wore it soon after it got dark. I saw John wearing it. I was like, "That's genius." So I wore it all night long, did not even notice it. And by the end of the night, it was just, I will always have one of these on at night like this on the range. It's awesome. That was probably like, as kind of simple as it sounds. Like that's something I've never done that before this class. I will always do it after this class. And if you have moments like that, I think that's really valuable. As far as one of the other things in our rifle setup videos, you'll be able to, I'll link that below. One of the things that was new for me at this class was this 12 o'clock dot mount on top of a Razor 1-6. And I love this thing. It was ideally set up for night vision for nods, but under white light, it's just as effective. It's just there. The only thing is you just have to maintain your offset because it is a giant 4-inch offset. But this was the first time I've ran it in low light with white light, and I loved it. The other thing that both of us did is we shot a lot of visible laser on our rifles. because one of the kind of the goals of this trip was dive or kind of put our toe in the water of night vision. And the low light class, we were using visible laser and white light to engage most of the stuff with our rifles, just in practice for going to Jamie Caldwell's night vision class the next day. And it was the first time I'd really ever used a laser on a rifle. I've just never had a call for it, never shoot in the daytime. So, but it's awesome. What do you think? Laser on a rifle, pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fast.
Yeah,
it's faster than red dot. It's definitely faster than irons. I wish everybody could get full power laser on their stuff. We didn't have to worry about the limitations of the weak lasers that you can't really see past 10 or 15 yards. I have an Ingall on my rifle. The thing is a beast. And when we showed up Thursday to zero, I confirmed my zero at 50 yards by throwing my rifle up on the tripod, looking through the primary optic at 8 power, turning the laser on to high, and boom, the red laser is blooming on the target midday at 50 yards. Honestly, I would rather just shoot with the laser, take the irons off, take the red off, do laser, and then some sort of 1 to 6 or 1 to 8. But my policy requires that I have primary optic, secondary backup sighting system. Laser is not an approved sighting system yet, so that's why I've got 3 on here. But if I could get rid of the red dot and just go to laser, man, that would be awesome. Laser is by far the fastest way. So I was really happy with that. And again, like Justin said, I shot primarily laser and white light to practice for the night vision class that we did the following night, and it was really good practice. I was really happy with how the laser performed, the switches. I run the same switch on my work gun back home, so I'm familiar with how the buttons work, and it did exactly what I wanted it to do.
Yep. So just to wrap it up, want to thank the organizers of Shooter Symposium, the sponsors. There's a ton of them: Big Tex, Surefire, Unity Tactical, Vortex Optics. There's a bunch. I'll put a link in the description to the Shooter Symposium website. It's a great event, and we'll be back next year. We'll be back to shoot night classes only next year, because we're not built for this Texas humidity.
Those guys. It's middle of October, and it's still hot, and it's humid.
Yeah,
and quite frankly, it's miserable.
Yeah, it's not the heat that really got me, though it did get pretty hot one day, that initial Thursday. But this humidity is new to me, man, and I'm not that far from here. I'm in Oklahoma City, so it's not like I'm on the other side of the country. But we were training Friday night, and I don't know, maybe it was 11, 12, something like that. Like, it was noticeable, like all of a sudden, and I guess it's the dew point or whatever, everything was wet. You were wet. Everything had water all over it. And there was no rain. It wasn't rain. It was just, I go to the back of my truck and my Pelican looks like somebody threw it in a pool. Yeah. And it was just, but that's not a negative. Like, that's, it is challenging as that can be for someone who wasn't expecting or not used to it. It was fine. It's just one thing you deal with and move on. And, to me, it's part of the experience. So we'll definitely be back. I'm all about, for the near future, I've done a ton of rifle and regular pistol classes. I'm into this night stuff now, so I'll be doing more night vision stuff. If you can get out, check out Jon's website, Kinetic Consulting. He has an amazing YouTube channel. Tons of night vision stuff. Gear, carry. Oh, one other thing I did want to mention that I picked up from Jon's class that he does that I have never seen before is he runs his dump pouch like under his mag pouch. So imagine he's got mag pouches here, but the dump pouch comes out just underneath this, so it's right on his left hip. And so it's basically just like a big giant ass left pocket. And it's really trick, and I could see the utility of it right away. Like that's genius for doing the kind of flat range stuff, or I guess about whatever, but especially for flat range classes, super handy. So I didn't ask him how he did it. I'm going to figure out a way to do it with the Maxpedition dump pouches that I like to use. Shouldn't be too difficult, but I will figure out a way to do it because I think that placement's really cool.
Yeah, it worked out well for him.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Stay tuned. We'll have another AAR on our night vision course and the overall event as a whole. So thanks for watching.
See you guys.